Good morning, students. Now you are going to start your third chapter, that is electrochemistry. So at first we have to know what is electrochemistry or what does electrochemistry deal with. So electrochemistry is the study of the production of electrical energy from the chemical energy of a continuous reaction and utilization of this electrical energy to carry out a non-spontaneous chemical reaction. So you know the spontaneous reaction. Spontaneous reaction means that is occurring naturally, automatically. That is say rusting of iron. If you keep one piece of iron in open atmosphere, automatically rusting is taking place. So that is a spontaneous process, spontaneous reaction. And during a spontaneous reaction, energy is released, and that energy we call chemical energy. And that energy, chemical energy, can be converted to that of the electrical energy, and that can be stored. And that stored electrical energy can be utilized to further carry out a non-spontaneous chemical reaction. So in electrochemistry, we will study this conversion of chemical energy to electrical energy and utilization of this electrical energy to carry out a non-spontaneous chemical reaction. What is this electrochemistry? That electrochemistry is the study of production of electricity from energy released during spontaneous chemical reactions and the use of electrical energy to bring about non-spontaneous chemical transformation. So this is the electrochemistry, or electrochemistry deals with this. Now here we have to know first what are the topics covered under this chapter. So you see here the topics covered under these chapters. The topic covered under these chapters are: first, electrochemical cell. We may call this Daniell cell, galvanic cell, or voltaic cell. These are all electrochemical cell. Measurement of electrode potential. Then third one is application of Nernst equation. Fourth one is equilibrium constant from Nernst equation. Fifth one is electrochemical cell and Gibbs energy of the reaction. Seventh one, that is conductance of electrolytic solution. And at the last, eighth one, that is variation of conductivity and molar conductivity with concentration. And at the last we will see the Kohlraasch's law. So these are the topics covered under this chapter. So one by one we will discuss. So today at the beginning we will discuss the first topic, that is electrochemical cell. So this is your electrochemical cell. So this cell is also called as a Daniell cell. This is constructed by Daniell scientist taking zinc and copper electrode, dipping in zinc sulfate and a copper sulfate. So this is called Daniell cell. Now first here we have to understand the principle or the concept behind the construction of this type of electrochemical cell. So what is the principle or what is the concept behind the construction of this electrochemical cell, that we will see. And for that purpose we will take a very simple spontaneous chemical reaction that already you know, that is the reaction in between zinc and copper sulfate. So the reaction of zinc and copper sulfate, that is a spontaneous reaction, and we will try to understand that reaction. And from that reaction we can develop the concept of constructing this type of chemical electrochemical cell or Daniell cell or galvanic cell or voltaic cell, what you may call. So now you see of a spontaneous reaction, that is the reaction in between zinc and copper sulfate. Zinc and copper sulfate, then it will give you the zinc sulfate and copper. So zinc being a more reactive, it displaces the copper from copper sulfate, thereby it becomes zinc sulfate and copper will be released here. That means if you take copper sulfate in a beaker and there if we dip a zinc rod, then copper will be displaced by that of the zinc. That means here the reaction is like that, the zinc, it will react with copper 2 plus and thereby it becomes zinc 2 plus and copper will be released here. So here zinc, that is converted to zinc 2 plus, releasing the electron, and copper 2 plus, it will take that electron and thereby it becomes copper atom. That means here zinc is oxidized, oxidation of zinc is taking place, and copper 2 plus is reduced, reduction of the copper 2 plus to copper is taking place. So it is a redox reaction. So here two parts is there, one is the oxidation, another is the reduction. So here zinc is oxidized to zinc 2 plus. So zinc, that is oxidized to zinc 2 plus. This is the reduced state of zinc and this is the oxidized state of zinc, that is zinc 2 plus. So this pair of a species, that means pair of reduced and the oxidized state of a species, that is called as redox couple. You remember, this is redox couple. Similarly, copper 2 plus, it is converted to copper. Here copper 2 plus, that is the oxidized state of the copper, and copper, that is the reduced state. So this is also a pair of oxidized and reduced state of the species copper. So this is also a redox couple. That means in this reaction there are two redox couples. The oxidation of one redox couple is taking place and by the time the reduction of the other redox couple is taking place. That means here the two parts is there. So here whenever you put the zinc rod, then what happens, that zinc, it will displace the copper and thereby it becomes zinc sulfate. So actually what happens here, here the transfer of electron is taking place. If you see the reaction here, that oxidation of zinc is taking place by releasing the electron and reduction of copper 2 plus is taking place by gaining that electron. That means here transfer of electron from zinc atom to that of the copper ion is taking place. But this transfer of electron from zinc to that of the copper ion, that is taking place in situ, that means inside the solution here. Now we know that the transfer of electron, that is the flow of current or that is the flow of electricity. So here this transfer of electron is taking place in situ. But anyhow, if we can transfer this electron externally, then this flow of electron or flow of current or flow of electricity we can utilize for our purpose. So now we will try to pass this electron externally. So for that purpose, what we have to do, we have to separate these two redox couples, because here that transfer of electron is taking place in between that two redox couple, actually zinc that is oxidized to zinc plus by releasing the electron, and copper 2 plus will take that electron, thereby it is reduced to that of the copper. So we will separate these two redox couple here in two different beaker. So we will take two beaker separately. In one beaker we will put the zinc. So here we are taking the zinc in the left hand side. Why? That I will explain little bit later on. So this is your copper. So where we will take the zinc rod, instead of copper sulfate we will take the zinc sulfate, and where we take the copper rod, here we will take the copper sulfate. That means whatever the metal we will take the electrolyte of that metal. And to pass the electron, you see that electron transfer from zinc to that of the copper. So to pass that electron, we connect it externally, fitting it with a voltmeter. Voltmeter that is used to see the flow of the electron. That way we will connect it externally. But here still it is not a closed circuit. This portion is not connected still, you remember. So before that you have to know one another concept, that is regarding that is the electrode potential. So you see, whenever zinc we put in a zinc sulfate solution, then more zinc atom come to the solution as a zinc ion, releasing the electron. So that means here there will be charge separation, and that is taking place automatically, naturally. It is its natural tendency because it is a spontaneous process. So zinc atom, it comes to the solution as a zinc ion, releasing the electron. So thereby there will be a charge separation. That means there will be a difference in potential. So that is called potential difference. So this is a potential difference between the zinc rod, means electrode, and its electrolyte, that is a zinc sulfate. So this potential difference, that will be called as the electrode potential. When we will measure the electrode potential of this electrode? At its equilibrium. So that you have to understand again. You see that zinc atom, it comes to the solution as a zinc ion. Then what about the zinc ion? That will be surrounded around this rod, and it will attain a situation when how much number of zinc atom come to the solution, exactly equal number of zinc ion will be deposited at the rod again. That means this is the situation of a equilibrium. At that times the concentration of zinc ion will not increase there. So that will be the maximum charge separation. So that charge separation means the potential difference or the difference in potential between the electrode and its electrolyte at its equilibrium, that is called its electrode potential. So we measure the electrode potential at its equilibrium. Similarly here also the same thing is happening. Here that copper 2 plus ion, this copper 2 plus ion, that will be deposited because reactivity of the copper, that is less, so it has a tendency to go to that of the reduced state. That means the reduction of the copper ion is taking place, oxidation of zinc atom is taking place. So after oxidation, zinc atom come to the solution as a zinc ion. After reduction, copper ion that will be deposited at the copper rod as a copper atom. So here positive charge goes to that of the electrode. That means this electrode will be positively charged, this electrode is negatively charged. So here also the charge separation is there. That means the potential difference is there. So difference in potential in between this electrode and its electrolyte copper sulfate, that is called its electrode potential. So both this electrode, they will possess the electrode potential. This is negatively charged electrode, negative electrode potential we may call. This is positively charged electrode, positive electrode potential. And in between these two electrodes, there is again potential difference. So the potential difference between these two electrodes, that will be again called as a cell potential or electromotive force whenever no current is drawn from this construction. That is called electromotive force or EMF or E cell, cell potential. That is the potential difference between these two electrodes. Now here, as it attains the equilibrium, it also attains the equilibrium. Though we connect it externally, nothing is happening there. That means no electron will flow here, though electrode potential difference is there. Why? Because still this is not closed. So to close it, we have to connect by a inverted U tube fitted with potassium chloride solution. And this is connected by an inverted tube which have potassium chloride solution there. Now, what is the function of this inverted tube with potassium packing with potassium chloride solution? It is acting as a bridge in between these two solutions, and this is made up of salt potassium chloride solution. So it will be called as a salt bridge. This is a salt bridge. Now what is its function? First, it will close the circuit. Second, it will help to revive the cell. That means whenever it is connected with this salt bridge, then we will see the deflection of this voltmeter. That means now electrons start to pass from zinc rod to that of the copper rod. Why? What is its function? What is its role here? Why it will allow this electron to pass from zinc to that of the copper? So you see here again that zinc atom, it comes to the solution as a zinc ion and it attains the equilibrium. But whenever we connect it with the salt bridge, whatever the zinc ion is coming to the solution, that will be neutralized by the chloride ion coming from that salt bridge. So it will provide the chloride ion. So potassium chloride, whenever it will come into contact with solution, quickly it will dissociate. So this chloride ion, it will come to compensate the zinc ion. Why chloride it will come here? Because more zinc ion coming from this zinc metal, it is its natural tendency. So that's why here the positively charged ions are available there. So negatively charged ion, it will come here and it will compensate the charge of the zinc ion. So this is the driving force here, that zinc atom, it has a natural tendency to come to the solution as a zinc ion, and potassium chloride has a high tendency to dissociate into its ion in a solution. So chloride come to the solution and thereby it neutralizes the zinc ion, so more and allow more zinc atom to come to the solution. As the chloride ion comes to the solution, more zinc atom will come to the solution as a zinc ion. So thereby this process is taking place continuously, releasing the electron, and on the other side copper ion deposited as a copper. Why? Because the potassium ion come to this solution. So potassium ion, potassium, its reactivity is more, it has a high tendency to remain in the oxidized state. Copper ion, copper, its reactivity is less, so copper has a high tendency to remain in the reduced state. So more potassium ion come to the solution and accordingly more copper ion will be deposited as a copper atom in this electrode. So thereby this will be the positively charged electrode, this will be negatively charged electrode. So there will be a potential difference between these two electrodes. Now this circuit is closed, so continuously that electron will flow from zinc rod to that of the copper rod, and this is the flow of electron, that means flow of current in the opposite direction. So current will flow, you know that current that will flow in the opposite direction of the flow of electron. This is the construction of the cell. So here this electrode potential we measure at any concentration, so it will be again confusing. So we have to standardize this electrode potential. So to standardize the electrode potential, we will measure the electrode potential at a standard solution. That means that is 1 mole per liter. That means whenever the concentration of the solution is 1 mole per liter, means unity, then we call that electrode potential as a standard electrode potential. So electrode potential that we denote by E, that is your electrode potential. And whenever we take the standard concentration, that means concentration is unit concentration, mole per liter, then we call it is a standard electrode potential. So this is your standard electrode potential, SEP, standard electrode potential. Now this electrode potential, that is due to the oxidation reaction. So that's why this will be called as the oxidation electrode potential, or if the concentration is at a standard condition, then that will be oxidation standard electrode potential. Similarly here this is your reduction electrode potential, or if that concentration is in unit concentration, that means unity, then that will be called as the reduction standard electrode potential. So whenever concentration is unity, we call it is a standard electrode potential. Similarly that E cell or E standard cell, if that electrode potential are the standard electrode potential, then your E cell will be also standard E cell. So now what is the cell potential? So that is the difference between the electrode potential of this cathode and anode. Now again the terms cathode and anode is coming here. So you see in the left hand side, we take the zinc rod, and in the right hand side we are taking the copper rod. Oxidation of the zinc is taking place, so oxidation. Reduction of the cathode is taking place, reduction. And where oxidation is taking place, that we call anode. Where reduction is taking place, that we call as a cathode. So as per the IUPAC convention, we always take the oxidation half in the left hand side and reduction half in the right hand side. That means always in the left hand side anode is there, and always in the right hand side cathode is there. So the half side where oxidation is taking place, that is called as anode. That means the electrode where oxidation is taking place, that is called anode, and the electrode where reduction is taking place, that is called as cathode. So here it is the anode, this is your cathode, here reduction is taking place. Anode, oxidation is taking place by releasing the electron, so that will be negatively charged. In cathode, positive charge is deposited, so it will be positively charged electrode. So this way potential difference between these two electrodes is there. Now again we have to know another thing here, that in this case it is a oxidation electrode potential, in this case it is a reduction electrode potential, but we must have like electrode potential, either oxidation electrode potential in both sides or the reduction electron potential in the both sides, otherwise we cannot do the calculation. So that's why as per the IUPAC convention, always we consider the reduction electrode potential. So whenever we say electrode potential, automatically you have to understood that it is your reduction electrode potential, and when concentration is unity, then that will be the standard electrode potential. That means standard reduction electrode potential always we will consider. You remember that. So then what we have to do, that whatever the oxidation electrode potential value will get, we have to just put one negative sign before that value, then automatically it will be the reduction electrode potential. So in this case we will get the reduction electrode potential. So in this case we will get the electrode, okay, oxidation electrode potential. Now to have the reduction electrode potential, whatever the value for the oxidation half we will get, we have to just put one negative sign before the value, then that will be automatically reduction electrode potential. So this way we will always consider the reduction electrode potential. And to construct a cell, always remember left right, L come first, so left right oxidation reduction, O come first, so in the left oxidation, and that is anode because A come first, anode cathode. So left right oxidation reduction, anode cathode, like that you remember. So this is about the electrochemical cell. Now we have to know how to represent a electrochemical cell. So in an electrochemical cell, two parts are there. One is the oxidation half and another is the reduction half. So these two parts is separated by the salt bridge. So to indicate that we will use two vertical lines. So what is that oxidation half? That zinc is oxidized to zinc 2 plus. So this is the redox couple in the oxidation half. Zinc, it is oxidized to zinc 2 plus. So that is separated by one vertical line. So this is a redox couple. Zinc goes to that of the zinc 2 plus. That is separated by a salt bridge. Then reduction half. Here what happens, that copper 2 plus converted to the copper. Copper 2 plus, it is converted to copper. So this way one cell is represented. Always the anode, that means the oxidation half, that is kept in the left hand side, that is separated by a salt bridge, and the cathode or that of the reduction part, that is kept in the right hand side. So this is the cell representation. So this is the construction of an electrochemical cell. Here you have to know the concept of electrode potential, standard electrode potential, E cell, and how to represent an electrochemical cell. So you see here a definition of the definition of the electrode potential. So what is electrode potential? You see, a potential difference developed between the electrode, metal rod, and the electrolyte is called electrode potential. This is denoted by E. Standard electrode potential, when the concentration of all the species involved in a half cell is unity, means mole per liter, then the electrode potential is known as standard electrode potential, that is denoted by E standard. So what is the cell potential? The potential difference between the two electrodes of a galvanic cell is called the cell potential and is measured in volts, that is denoted by E cell. And this is called the cell electromotive force, also EMF of the cell when no current is drawn through the cell. So you see this definition, and this is about the electrochemical cell for today. And in the next class we will discuss how to measure the standard electrode potential. So this is for today. Thank you.